I am Colin from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the Adria Coral Plus 670 SL. So as we start, we'll walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first. You've got your Adria flip key here, which opens all your lockers. So the first locker behind the driver's door is where you took the vehicle up. So you've got your mains hook-up point here. So lifting and exposing the contact onto the hookup point first, and then onto your sight, and then you'll notice you've got TV points. So if you're on a super site, you can connect to their aerials and connect into here. I put your wire into the little groove there, and then you can shut the door and form a tight seal with the rubber there, pushing in and turning when it goes. The lock face pops out, is open, pop it in, is locked. You've got your two fridge vents and your awning. There's a separate video on the awning on our channel. Awning light, and you do have your cassette locker. So ensuring that the blade is closed on the bottom bowl of the toilet, you'll be able to lift the orange handle like so and slide the cassette out. You've got a handle so you can drag it to your waste disposal point, which is normally next to your shower and toilet block on site. And then to empty, you remove the grey cap, which also acts as a measuring cap when you come to refill with chemical. Tip up and press the button, and this will tip it all out. And then once you've tipped it all out, if you put some water in via the spout, give it a shake, tip out again, just another rinse. Then like I said, either a cap full of the green or the blue chemical in the liquid form, or you simply put the cassette in, empty if you're using the tablets, go in, open the blade, flush your toilet until you think you've got about a pint of water into the cassette, and then drop a sachet of either the green or the blue tablets, which are in a cellophane, into the cassette, and that'll break up into the liquid. Do ask your site which chemical they'd prefer you to use, because most of them now want you to use the green instead of the blue, as it's more economically and environmentally friendly for disposal of. Put your garage at the back. So in here, this is where your fifth seatbelt backrest lives. So that's the frame. You've got 240 volt when hooked up and a 10 amp 12 volt. It's heated by the heating system on board. Got a bed, cushion and a ladder there. And then these lights are individually switched from this little switch this side when the main panel is on. Got a storage drawer in there and some more storage in there as well. Come round the back, you've got your high level brake light, your reverse camera, obviously your ladder to gain access to the roof should you need to, and you do have your mountain bars for a bike rack. So this is where the panel has been strengthened to take a bike rack. And you'll notice on the bottom you've got your parking sensors. Come round to the passenger side. So you've got your LPG locker, so liquid petroleum gas. This takes 2 propane bottles, so you probably get 2 6s in here, or 1 6 and 1 11. This is just our little test bottle at the moment. So to connect the bottle, it's a left hand thread, opposite threads with it being gas. Then you'll need an adjustable wrench or gas spanner to nip it up, turn the bottle on, press the black catch down, which is just a crash valve sensor. So push it down for 3 seconds, allows the gas into the pigtail. Then always ensure this crash valve this orange tab here is pushed in to the regulator to allow it into the vehicle. Always make sure it's turned off when you're traveling, and of course when you've got a bottle on board, make sure it's strapped in so it doesn't move about when traveling, as you want the gas to be the safest thing on the vehicle. You've got your vent for your Truma heating, so your boiler's behind here, so just to make sure that this isn't blocked, it's just allowing the fumes out. Freshwater intake, so this is where you put your hose pipe and fill until it overflows, until you're happy you've got enough water on board. So I would carry a hose pipe and some hose pipe fittings with you, as most sites are just brass taps these days. And you do have a 12-volt input here for a submersible pump. So taking the cap off, in there's 2 pins, so should you not be able to get a hose pipe to it, but you've got a submersible pump and an aqua roll or a bucket or a container of water, put your pump in there, put the other end into here, drop the submersible pump into the water, and it'll suck the water into the freshwater tank without you having to move the vehicle. On the passenger door, this is where you've got your diesel filler, which opens with the main ignition key. And underneath, because it's a new style diesel engine, it's the cleanest diesel engine on the market at the moment, it does take AdBlue, which is a 19 litre tank, and when it indicates it needs it, you'll get an exhaust light between the temperature and fuel gauge. As soon as it comes on, if you do top it up, because if you didn't top it up, the vehicle could go into limp mode or fail to start, and you will need to get fade out to restart the vehicle. Tyre pressures are on the door panel here, so 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi. Your waste is at the back of the vehicle here, just behind the back wheel. But to open it, there's no valve on it, it's here. So there's a little switch just underneath the seat belt beside the passenger seat, and it'll indicate here. So at the top is locked, as it's a 3-position switch. In the middle is nothing, and then at the bottom is open, and that's when you drive over a grid on the way out of the site and allow your wastewater out. But you'd also make sure that was drained off when you winterize in the vehicle to stop it from freezing in the waste holding tank. Engine batteries underneath this panel here, and bonnet release is on the side of the dashboard. So this side you've got all your fluids, so you've got your screen wash, this lifts off and you've got power steering and radiator coolant, which is this one here. Brake fluid, engine oil, filler and dipstick with your paint code, which is 611 for the Grigio aluminium silver. Forget about this panel, this is when Fate didn't know what they were converting it into. It's now become a motorhome, so it's had a phase 2 conversion. So it's 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight with a 5.5 ton train weight. So that's the vehicle, and whatever it's towing can't exceed that. You've got your earth here and your positive just behind the passenger headlight for giving or receiving a jump start. When you step into the vehicle, this is your main 12-volt control panel. So you turn on and off at the top right hand corner. Then you'll get this menu here. So it tells you that the hookup is on there, and then it tells you your external and internal temperature. It tells you that your leisure battery is 100%. You've got 100% of water on there, 0 waste, and the pump is off. But then if you use these controls here on the side, what you can do is you can turn your lights and then on and off, but then you'd use the scroller here, so you can scroll between on the interior lights and on and off for the awning light. You get your internal and external temperature. You get your settings there, so you can change the time, date, when the clocks go back and forth, and the brightness of the screen. You can turn your pump on and off on here. You can view your leisure and vehicle battery, so vehicle and leisure, and you can view your fresh and your waste water. But when going into the lights, this is your on off by pressing the grey scroll button here. Then you just press and hold to turn off. To operate the Truma digital control panel, so you'd press and hold to turn on and off by just pressing this and holding down for a few seconds. You get the time, and then if you press into the menu, so in the far left hand corner you put the motorhome with the thermometer in. This is the temperature of the heat you want inside the vehicle. So you've got all the way up to 30 degrees, and then you just press and hold to set that. If you didn't want the heating on, you just turn it off, and then next to it you have your hot water. So make sure you've got enough water in the boiler first, and you have enough water on board, otherwise don't put the hot water on, as it's like boiling a kettle without water in. So you've got off, you've got eco, which is 40 degrees of heating your water. You've got hot, which is 60 degrees of heating your water, and you've got boost, which will turn off your heating first and prioritise the water. So for this we'll just say hot, and then moving along, you've got which source you want to use. So you've got gas on its own if you weren't hooked up and you are wild camping. You've got a mixture of 1 kilowatt of electric and gas. A mixture of 2 kilowatts of electric and gas, so you'd use this if you are in desperate need of heating or hot water, i.e. in the winter months. You've got electric on 1 kilowatt, and you've got electric on 2 kilowatts. So normally you'd use an electric on 2 if you've paid your site fees, you'll not want to waste your gas. But you may need to use electric on 1 kilowatt if you're boiling an electric kettle at the same time, or using too much electric. But check with your site on what current and amperage they give you through your hookup lead, and this will determine whether you use electric on 2 or electric on 1. Otherwise you can't trip the vehicle out or the site. Then in the top right you've got the fans. You've got it on eco or high. Eco, if you're going to sleep, put it on eco, as the fans are a little bit more silent. If you put on high, you can hear the fans. This is just to boost the vehicle. Obviously if it's cold, you want to put them on high, give the vehicle a boost of using the 12 volt assisted fan. In the bottom left you've got a timer, so you can time it to come on and off, just the once though. And then in the middle you've got the time displayed on the main control panel. And then should you get a warning triangle in the middle, which means either something's gone wrong, you can reset the panel by going to the spanner setting in the bottom right, going to reset, clicking, it'll say preset, click again, and then you'll have to go in and reset everything that I've just shown you. In the kitchen area I've got 3 lit gas rings there. Allow these to cool before you put the glass top down. Put your chopping board, which acts as a sink cover, there as well. Push your overhead lockers to open, and they're on gas struts, so you've got storage above. Large storage drawers. Your cupboard underneath your Thetford oven and grill. You've got your oven there, and above you've got your grill. At the back, to open the window, just release the 3 catches by pushing the buttons in on the arms, and then you've got to push it all the way out to bring it in. Make sure this is securely fastened before travelling, with all windows and skylights. Blackout blind, ply screen, pinch them in the middle, and the 2 will depart from each other. So to operate your Thetford slimline fridge with freezer compartment. You turn on and off here, and then using the square button you can see which source you're running off. So at the moment this is on A, which stands for automatic energy selection, and you can see that the hookup plug is lit up there. So we're hooked up at the moment on the forecourt. We've got gas on board, but it's all automatically programmed to take 240 volt first and not waste your gas. If I was then to start the engine, it would switch over to the battery setting, which is a feed off your engine alternator, not your leisure battery, which is only designed to keep the temperature it was currently at before the engine was switched on. So what you've got to do is, if you're lucky enough to keep this at home, hook it up a couple of days before, put your shopping in the night before, allow it to chill overnight, and then when you are ready to set off, if it's on automatic, great, just start the engine and drive away. And then when you come back at your site and you hook up, it'll switch automatically over to hook up. If you're going wild camping, it will take 20 minutes to light on gas. This is just a safety feature, so it'll beep and fail and it won't self-ignite for 20 minutes. As if you were to pull into a petrol station, fill up with fuel, you wouldn't have 240, you won't have 12 volt, but if you've left the gas open you would have gas in the system. So it's automatically programmed to wait 20 minutes. So to manually light it, you just press and hold the square button, wait until they start flashing, then use the arrows. So there's hook up on its own, there's battery on its own, and there's gas, and it'll go to the temperature and you can go up and down. So normally if you're pre-chilling you'd have it on 5, when you get your shopping in you'd probably want it on 3 or 4, and then there it's lit on gas. But when winterizing, remember, clean it all out, take everything out, give it a wipe down, little blue toggle here, pull that in the middle, rest the door up against it. It'll allow air circulation in and out the fridge to stop any mold or bacteria forming in there, so when you come to reuse it, your fridge isn't rotten and you've got to give it a good clean out. Located between the double floor on an Adria is your water tank. So this is your fresh water, which is just beside your travelling seat. So to empty your fresh water you use this grey lever here, so you turn it twice to the right, which will drain off all water in the fresh water tank. And if you ever wanted to gain access to it, you take the blue cap off and gain access if you wanted to clean the tank out. But remember, your warranties don't cover frost damage, so you've got to drain fresh water off, the wastewater off from the switch beside the passenger door, and your boiler, which I'll get onto in a moment. But say you've taken on contaminated water, you're simply not using the van for a couple of weeks, so you don't want stagnant water to stay in the van, or you're winterizing, you'd open the freshwater tanks via this grey lever. So your toilet door acts as your bedroom door at the back. To the left hand side you've got your shower. So these screens are just magnetic and then have a small turnbuckle on, so you just pull them apart. And then when winterizing, you'd unscrew your shower head from your hose and allow your hose to lie in the shower tray with the mixer tap open. And then your skylight, you've got a fly screen and a blackout blind on there, push to open, or you can put in the groove should you want a nice bit of ventilation when the weather's nice and there's no wind. But please make sure that your skylights are shut before you travel with them, because you can't travel with them open, they've got to be closed. And make sure that the wind isn't too strong, as you wouldn't want the wind to rip your skylight off on site. And your light switch for your shower is just located up underneath here. There's this little rocker switch just up there for your backlights and your shower cubicle. Across from your shower is your toilet. So to operate your toilet, ensure the pump's on. Press the blue button, which is your freshwater flush from your main freshwater tank. Flush the toilet first, which lubricates the blade and stops the seal from going hard. And then slide this grey lever to the right. use the toilet with the blade open to ensure that everything goes into the cassette and the blade top doesn't get dirty. Then flush after use and then slide this to the left, which isolates the cassette, and you'll be able to get it out the outside of the van should you need to change it. And you get a few lights underneath the diagram when it's ready to change. If you couldn't get it out, you know why, because you've left the blade open. Toiletry cabinet. Press the catch here and you've got some more toiletry space. You tap there so your water's getting the temperature there, nice and warm. And then you do have your lights. So you've got the backlights of the mirror, or you've got the spotlight above the mirror, and same skylight as in the washroom, and some handy storage in here as well. So at the back of the van you've got two large single beds. But what you can do is you can form a double widthways by pulling this section out using the infill cushion that was in the garage. Pop it into here. And then what you can do is you can use the ladder to clip onto here to get on and off the bed, as it does cover the steps. But storage in this one, but this is the drawer that pulls out into the garage, so if you want anything put at the back, if you want to get it from inside the motorhome. This section lifts up when you use the ladder. Storage drawer, and that's the head restraint for that back base for your fifth belted seat. More storage drawers. This side's your wardrobe, so what you can do is you can open it and you think, oh well, how am I going to get in? As you're going to potentially break the cupboard door by leaning on top of it. Simply just push it and it'll slide away so you can gain access into your wardrobe. And then you do have your heated tank, so you can turn that on and off here, and it'll just send the heat from the ducting next to the fresh water to stop it from freezing. But it is in that double floor anyway, so it's got a better thermal insulation than a motorhome that doesn't have a double floor. So located in the floor just behind the passenger seat, if you lift this up, underneath here is your boiler drain for your Truma combi. So when it's across the vehicle and the nib's down and the button on the side here is pushed in, it is holding 10 litres of hot water. In the winter it is very important that you drain the water holding tank in the boiler of the water to protect the boiler and the water heater. So to do so, simply turn, the nib will pop up and the button will pop out. Come in and do this with no 12 volt on or no pump. 10 litres of water will drain out directly underneath the vehicle. Leave it open during the time you've got it stood up, especially in the winter. So you'd winterize in the winter to stop it from freezing when frost is present. And then also you'd open your fresh waste, all your taps throughout the vehicle. So all the mixer taps, shower, kitchen sink, hand basin, to stop any airlocks and any water that's in the pipes from freezing, as it is plastic pipes and tanks on a motorhome. And then what you will want to do when you come to reuse the vehicle is obviously shut the boiler first, shut the fresh through the floor, shut the waste, shut all the taps, put your shower head back on your shower hose and put that back on the stand. Go outside, fill with cold water via a hose pipe, come in, put the control panel on, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first, you'll get automatic cold water. Turn it to the hot side. When you turn it to the hot side, what it does is it draws it from the main tank into the boiler. So the boiler doesn't fill up until the hot side of the tap is on. When the hot side of the tap is on, you'll get all the air spitting through the pipes, through the taps. It'll cough, spit for about 3 to 4 minutes until it gets a steady flow on the kitchen tap. Then do the shower and the hand basin tap, and then the system is primed. It's very important that you drain this off, otherwise if you didn't, it isn't covered under any warranty, and it is very expensive to repair from frost damage, and most of the times it is a new boiler that is needed. When you're using the 2 rear travelling seats, remove the cushion from here, and obviously you'll want this to fold. This will fold down for the passenger sitting to the left hand side near the window to get the feet down. And all you need to do is pull these clips back. So one there, and that'll fold down to give you footwell space for the 2 rear passengers. And then to form your single bed at the front, as this is a 3 berth, drop your table down, which I'll show you in a minute, but this is how the cushions go. So that's a backrest off there. That's the base pulled forward, the infill cushion from in the wardrobe or garage, and then obviously your L-shaped lounge there. So that would just slide back into here. And when I'm here, I may as well show you under here quickly. So you've got your 12 volt fuses for your 12 volt appliances, so carry some spares. You've got your leisure battery, and you've got your trips on mains electric. So if you trip the vehicle out, try here before you try your main site. And then with the table, you've got this arm here which locks it, so when you go clockwise it locks it. If you bring it anti-clockwise, it adjusts the height. And then you've got this little arm which you can push when traveling. So just before you set off, push that in, and that'll stop it from moving from side to side. It locks it in. But this is the one you want to push down, adjust it into the space, and then turn it up to lock. So to make your 5th belt seat, remove the cushions, pop your backrest in, and allow this clip to clip into here. Get your head restraint, and that'll clip on to there. And then you'd use your base cushion back into position. Obviously you've got your seat belt there from underneath in the storage compartment. That pushes down, and then you'd use your backrest to go into here, and then you would travel backwards. But you have got 5 belted seats legally on this vehicle. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver you have your handbrake, and then on the doors you've got your electric passenger and driver windows, and you've got your adjustment for your mirrors, which is both top and bottom. So there's 2 adjustments on each mirror, so the top and the blind spot. Slide this along, expose the magnet and slide it up. That'll just clip onto the side of the door there, and you've got your blackouts for the driver and passenger door. And the ones on the windscreen you just pinch, slide along, Remus car blinds, and they'll meet in the middle of the magnetic strip. And then coming down to the right of the dashboard, you've got your headlight adjustment, rear fogs, and then if you didn't want stop start to work, you can deactivate it by pressing the button and the orange light will come on there. But with stop start, the battery of the vehicle has to be at a certain voltage for this to work. So if you've had it stood up for a couple of weeks and you're wondering why your stop start doesn't work, it's because your engine battery isn't got enough power in it, and is worried that if it did cut out, at the traffic lights, it won't be able to start, which is not the case. You just need to give the vehicle a good run and the charge will come back to the engine battery. You've got your trip computer on the end of your wiper stalk, so this will go through your instant average consumption, your range, your miles per gallon, your distance travelled, your time travelled, and that'll have that trip A and trip B. You've got all your steering wheel controls here, headlights and indicators, and then at the bottom there you do have your cruise control off in the middle and your speed limiter. So with the cruise control, you just get your desired speed and then push up to go faster, pull down to slow down, cancel on here or with a foot brake, and you can resume it to the last speed that was set on the cruise control before the engine was turned off. Then with the speed limiter, in the top left hand corner of the little screen here, it'll say limb off, but then if you push it up slowly, it goes up in ones, push it up and hold, it goes up in twos, and then when you do start driving, it'll limit you to that speed unless you put your accelerator flat to the floor, and it will override it as a safety feature. This one's fitted with a 9-speed automatic gearbox. So you've got park, reverse, which beepens your reverse sensors, and your camera comes on here, neutral all the way down to drive, and then you can go out to manual and you go up and down the gears. You do have drive mode at the top there, so you've got 3 modes. You've got eco, normal or power. To be fair, I don't see any advantage to eco at all. I'll just leave it in normal. You do have the kick down function, so if you were struggling, kick it to the floor and it'll start moving. But this has got the engine upgrade on as well, this particular vehicle, the 160, so it doesn't struggle with hills or anything. But with the power, you can have it in power mode. That just holds the rev slightly higher. Normal, it'll change gear a lot sooner. In eco, there's no real benefit to it unless you want to put in eco. You may see a benefit, but we certainly didn't see a benefit when we had ours in eco. You've got ASR off, which is anti-slip relief. Your hazards, and this locks all the doors, so the habitation door and the 2 carb doors. And then you do have your heated mirrors, so should they be wet, put this on and it'll clear them. And above you've got your temperature on the outside ring, your fan speed on the in, must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, which is this button here. Then on the opposite side you've got your distribution on the outside ring, so where you want the air to go, face, feet or screen, and whether you're bringing fresh air in or you're recirculating it within the vehicle. Your head unit is a Fiat head unit, so you've got your radio there, which is FM, AM and DAB, and you can press 1 to 3 or all and save 12 of your favourite radio stations. Media is obviously USB, which is just in the glove box underneath here. Bluetooth audio as well, as it doesn't take a CD. You've got nav, which is TomTom navigation. One thing I will say is don't put your home address in here, because it'll ask you to set up home. If you are going to do that, just set somewhere close to home, not your exact address, because if your motorhome's stolen, they don't want to then know where you live. So put somewhere that you can navigate to, and then you know exactly where you're going from that point to your front door. So you go to navigate to, address, and then you can pop in your city or postcode. But if you ever take this abroad and you need to change your country, simply click on the United Kingdom flag, and then you pop your country you want to go in, and then you can put your coordinates. As I know, most of it's not a postcode in other countries, it's coordinates, and that'll take that and find there. Points of interest, if you want to save any, your favourites, obviously your recent destinations. Once you start using the sat nav, you can use all in there. Phone, you click phone, pair of phone, yes, you want to find Uconnect on your device. Make sure the pins match, which this pin is 9132. Press pair. Then ask you if you want to allow your contacts to be saved. It'll download your phone book into here, so it'll have all your phone book in, so you just press and ring whoever you want if they're saved in your phone. Go into more, you can view your trips, A and B. You have a compass and a clock, and obviously it tells you your outside temperature. You turn your screen off if you want to have the radio on, but you don't want the screen on an evening, as it's giving too much glare, and as soon as you touch the screen it will come back on. Settings at the top, if you need to change anything in the settings, like your audio balance or anything. USB for charging and 12 volt. Glove box, heated and cooled glove box by the air conditioning, so if you've got little bits of sweets, chocolates, little bottles of water in the summer and the aircon's on, lovely cold place, saves you getting up to the fridge when you're on the road. And then you do have a phone holder slash sat nav holder, so you can open it up there and lock it into place by just pushing that catch in. Locks the jaws on it, and you can put your phone and your sat nav there, or you can hold a bit of paper for your site reservation.